With that, I would like to introduce our experts for today. We have Keith Whitehead, who is our Worldwide Business Unit Executive for WebSphere Application Server and Platform. With him, we have Michael Thompson, who is the WebSphere Application Server Offering Manager. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you, Jess, and welcome, and thank you, everyone, for investing the time this morning to get a bit of a sneak preview. We are introducing the IBM WebSphere Automation solution. This is a little bit different. We're giving you a bit of a preview before the formal announcement. You can see our lawyers have given us some asterisk-type weasel words to use in the top right, so we're able to say that the announcement is coming very soon. Hopefully meaning April here. The general availability is targeted for mid-second quarter, but this solution has not yet been formally announced. The next slide I show you will have all the appropriate legal disclaimers, but we wanted to take the opportunity to start to share some news about this. We're really excited about it. We're confident it's going to add a lot of value to our existing WebSphere Application Server and Liberty Application Server clients. So we wanted to go ahead and get some of the news out there, and we are anticipating much more detail coming very, very soon. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. As I mentioned, because we are talking about a solution that is not yet formally generally available, we have to show this legal disclaimer, which will also appear in the copy of the slides that you receive, basically stating that any statements regarding our plans and directions are subject to change prior to the official general availability. So let's start to talk about some of the challenges that I think all of us face from an IT perspective. Candidly, the complexities of today's IT operations make really big transformational projects difficult to greenlight, to fund, and most of them actually fail to deliver immediate results. And I think we saw with COVID that it really impacted a lot of these longer-term strategic initiatives, but there's still a huge desire to drive innovation in the organization. So if you kind of look at some of the challenges that we have faced, I think it's really kind of an unprecedented time where you're seeing this convergence of a lot of different issues, technological, social, and even regulatory forces. We have all sorts of desire to move to new types of technology and architectures, whether it be public cloud, microservices, containers, just the explosion of users because of mobile applications. From a social perspective, obviously, we're dealing with hopefully the tail end of a pandemic that has driven extraordinary demand for many online systems and forced folks to create new and very creative applications at times. And obviously, there's a lot of regulatory forces at play, some of those involving things like GDPR and, how do you keep, user information private? How are you able to even interact and contact some of your clients and prospects? So a lot of these challenges are kind of surfacing as time to market challenges. We have very high operational costs, and there's a lot of difficulty in managing complexity. And really, these types of issues really match what our WebSphere clients and Liberty clients have told us are their top concerns. We have our customer advisory board, Inner Circle, and candidly just frequently interact with our clients in a variety of different formats. But overwhelmingly, the three top issues that we hear from our customers really map to these types of broader industry challenges. Time to market challenge really kind of pairs up with the fact that our WebSphere clients say that sometimes their estates have gotten increasingly complex as they built out mission critical applications on WebSphere and Liberty over the years. They may be running different versions of Liberty or WAS. They might be running a mix of Liberty and WAS. They might have some in the public cloud, some on the on-prem. So this complexity and getting it under control is something that everyone desires to address. Driving down costs, I think that's universal, but that's certainly something that every IT organization is being asked to do. How can you do more and drive down your costs at the same time? And one of the challenges in terms of managing that complexity is that many of our clients are telling us they may lack some of the cloud technology experience. And I'm not talking specifically about public cloud here, but some of the technology and architectural concepts like containers or microservices. It could include public cloud. How do I move applications to those types of environments? To get even more specific, there's a huge push towards AI and automation. And that's really what we want to talk about today. And many of our clients are saying, I love the idea of artificial intelligence and automating operations, but I don't really have experience with how to do that in my WebSphere and Liberty application server environments. And I love the idea of automating operations, but may not have the expertise or the tools to do that just yet. And that's where we really want to focus today. What we're seeing is that organizations are challenged to transform fast, to maximize ROI for all the investments that are made. Any investment we make today seems to be under a microscope. I'm sure that's a universal feeling. But we're also tasked with keeping those traditional mission-critical applications together while also launching new agile types of applications and really managing the complexity of those interactions and integrations across your IT enterprise. In other words, it's complicated stuff. The big challenge there, though, is that so much of our budget, around 40% of the IT budget is consumed by technical debt, which continues to compound, right? This is not the good kind of interest. This is the bad kind of compounding where, every year it seems to take more and more of our time to kind of keep the lights on, to keep those existing applications up and running. And so we have a lot of truly talented people spending a significant amount of their time on updates, operations, security testing, making sure the lights are on and that things are working for those mission critical applications. And again, that all takes time away from the ability to do what the line of business is asking you to do, which are transformational type initiatives that are very strategic. And so again, if most of those projects tend to be hard to greenlight, if most of them fail, well, how do you start to break through to innovation? How do you start to free up that time to spend and invest on those more strategic initiatives? And as alluded to earlier, and what we're here to talk about today is that path to innovation is increasingly coming in the form of automation. How do you reduce manual toil to unlock new value? And we're starting to see results across the industry. AI augmentation, whether it's robotic process augmentation or other types, or automation, I should say, will recover 6.2 billion hours of worker productivity in 2021. That's a huge number, right? And that's dramatically increasing every year. So throughout our organizations, folks are looking for ways to automate and optimize processes and to allow systems to do things where perhaps formerly people were spending time on these mundane tasks which may have not been high value. We also have to balance the idea that outages and incidents cost more than ever. So today it's approximately $260,000 an hour in terms of cost to revenue and reputation every time we have an outage. So the idea is that we want to start to automate as much as we can while simultaneously reducing the number of IT incidents and reducing the time that we may have outages. So those two things, that convergence of automation and operations, are increasingly critical to our organizations. So what we're here to talk about today is WebSphere Automation. And automation is designed to reduce the manual toil of those administrative and operations efforts, which take up a lot of our time today in terms of managing WebSphere and Liberty environments. So the goal is to minimize the cost and complexity of those management and administrative exercises. The idea is that this will create the time and opportunities for higher value activities. It's the key to really freeing up resources to be able to spend time on building new applications or moving to the public cloud or deploying in containers or thinking about microservices. If you can take the burden of simply managing the day-to-day away or reduce that significantly, you can repurpose those valuable individuals to spend part of their time on doing new and interesting things for the line of business. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to our lead offering manager for WebSphere Automation, Michael Thompson, and he's going to walk us through what WebSphere Automation is and how it can help you.
Excellent. Thanks, Keith. And I assume everybody can hear me, or at least you can confirm that, Keith?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. So as Keith very well laid out, the origin of WebSphere Automation is really around helping WebSphere clients navigate this challenging landscape of being able to do more, always being pressured to do less, or, do more with less, and to really pivot to be able to focus on those higher value activities. And that set of needs is really what has shaped what I like to call the core philosophy of WebSphere Automation. And the first philosophy on that is really to be focused on meeting you where you are. We know clients are modernizing. We know that they are, evaluating the cloud, various technologies that are out there, seeking to go to Liberty, seeking to go to containers. But we also know those activities can take an immense amount of time. Sometimes it's easy to move an application. Sometimes it's a little bit harder. But when you're looking at an entire IT estate, it can be very, very complicated, especially when you have hundreds, if not thousands, of servers. So our first core philosophy is to meet you where you are, and that means to deliver value in the in WebSphere ND, on virtual machines, in your data center as a key starting point. That doesn't mean that the value won't be available throughout your journey. In fact, we fully support WebSphere running on virtual machines or WebSphere running in containers. But we know that the challenge of moving forward predominantly exists in those existing environments, and that's why we're very focused on delivering value there as part of this overall solution. We're also very intentionally focused on operations. We know that the operational costs, the operational concerns and burden that come along with just managing any IT infrastructure can be significant. So we're focused on a quick ROI for those operational cases where you want to unlock that value, free up that operational time, and really, the third point, help WebSphere pivot to be more of a driver for business value and really contributing to that overall sense of the organization's ability to move forward. And as part of this overall approach for WebSphere Automation, we're focused on three key themes. The first of which is self-securing. The intent and purpose there is to allow customers to be able to better understand and maintain the security posture of their WebSphere estate, combination of WebSphere Application Server as well as Liberty, be able to do that in a way that is low cost, easy to use, easy to understand, and really be able to deliver that security posture with a lot less manual effort than is usually required today. Second is self-healing, where we focus on problem remediation, problem detection, so that when errors occur in their environment, even for the most stable environments, errors will occasionally pop up. The amount of time and effort needed to understand, diagnose, and resolve those errors, we seek to bring that down significantly. And then around self-optimizing, we know that clients have a wide variety of application types, a wide variety of workload types, and getting all of those applications tuned in such a way that they are running optimally for every application can be extremely challenging. And what we seek to do with the self-optimization piece is to really reduce the amount of time that it takes for you to understand and make configuration changes to your WebSphere environment to deliver the maximum, the maximum throughput for those applications targeted based on the environment that they're in. So with WebSphere Automation, we're delivering these self-securing, self-healing, and self-optimizing capabilities across the entire set of WebSphere Application Server runtimes. Earlier this year, we announced the WebSphere Hybrid Edition, which it basically includes all of our WebSphere editions, WAS-ND, Base, Liberty Core, as well as a full set of modernization technologies, Transformation Advisor, Mono to Micro, and Cloud Foundry migration runtime. WebSphere Automation will help you manage and those runtimes irrespective of what edition or version you are running. So as long as you're running a supported WAS edition, meaning 855, 905, or Liberty, doesn't matter where it's deployed, could be in VMs, could be in containers, WebSphere Automation will work with those runtimes to help reduce the operational cost for those deployments. Now, I've talked about the three themes: self-securing, self-healing, and self-optimizing. And these are absolutely part of our product vision. However, we are starting very intentionally in the self-securing set of capabilities. Through a series of conversations and engagements with clients, we have come to refine the roadmap for our WebSphere Automation offering to really be focused on the most high-value needs from our clients. And the universal feedback was that being able to better understand the security posture of a very large, complicated WebSphere estate was the number one need from our clients. So that is where we are starting. And I'll show you a demo a little bit later today that will show you that. But by no means is this the end of the journey. We are focused on self-securing right now because we understand that that is the most important client need, and we are seeking to deliver on this roadmap as we go forward. So as Keith pointed out at the beginning, these are forward-looking statements. These things very, very likely could change. Timing and dates, of course, subject to that change, but our anticipated delivery roadmap for our initial release later in this quarter will be to begin with a set of capabilities that are focused on WebSphere vulnerability tracking and consolidating all of that information into a single dashboard. So that initial set of capabilities will allow you to better understand the security posture of your WebSphere estate, understand what vulnerabilities exist, what things remain unpatched, and be able to reason about that and take quick remediation action through your existing processes. Now, that is not where we expect to stop. The kind of roadmap items that we have for the sort of near-term future is to focus on vulnerability remediation, being able to help schedule and roll out fixes and patches for vulnerabilities or for other issues that affect your deployment. Assisted problem determination, being able to understand what's happening in the WebSphere environment, being able to look at those logs and understand, okay, do you have a particular error condition? We think the correct action to take to resolve that is the following, and provide those recommendations in near real time so that clients don't need to either have experienced that particular error before or remember exactly how to take a specific set of corrective actions. We want to be able to bake that knowledge into the tool so that you don't need to have to remember all of these different permutations. And then last but certainly not least is this automated tuning advice, where based on the objectives that you have for that business application, whether that's the highest transactional throughput or if you're running in a cloud environment, perhaps optimal resource utilization so that you can have a lower cloud bill, we would be able to provide tuning advice so that your application runtime is tuned appropriately to meet those business objectives that you've laid out. So in our first release, what we are focused on is that initial step of self-securing, being able to understand that security posture. So being focused on securing operations to help you reduce your risk and help you meet compliance. This is going to allow you to automatically detect vulnerabilities when they're published. You'll be able to do that by basically adding in your WebSphere servers to this WebSphere automation tool so that it has knowledge and awareness of them. That means you'll be able to connect teams with the most relevant information from a single dashboard. That can be your operational team. It could be a security or compliance team. You'll be able to see all of that information in a common place. And we think this will help you embrace those sort of DevSecOps characteristics and behaviors, even outside of containers, even outside of a true DevOps model, because it'll be much easier to see and understand those those issues that are affecting your overall security posture. This will help you sort of learn and respond faster to vulnerabilities, because what this means is you will not need to manually evaluate every single IBM flash. I'm sure everyone on this call is subscribed to the IBM flash notifications that we send out so that you can learn when a new vulnerability that affects WebSphere has been published. What this tool will do is it will allow you to add those servers in your environment to this tool. It will then do the correlation for you so that you don't need to manually evaluate each of these things, thus significantly reducing the amount of manual time that you have to spend correlating this. And it will track all that inventory for you so that you don't need to manually be tracking that in spreadsheets or in tools that that you've created to track all of this information. So by staying focused on these initial sets of core capabilities, we've been able to build out our initial release, again, focused on this understanding of the security posture. And we think this significantly helps clients better understand the kind of security posture that they have in their environment today. And at this point, I'm going to pause on the slides and we're going to shift to a demo. I'm going to show you a demo based on our current in-development driver. So, be aware there are the occasional bug still in here because we are still actively building it. But I am going to set up my screen share and we're going to switch over to that. So give me 1 second to do that. Some quick words on sort of the context here. What we're looking at is the WebSphere Automation offering running in a OpenShift cluster. This OpenShift cluster is deployed in the IBM Development Lab. This solution can be deployed anywhere that OpenShift can run. So this could be run in a cloud. It could be run in your data center. Quite frankly, I expect most clients are going to want to run this in their data center, as most clients sort of exist within those regulatory frameworks that require a lot of their data to stay under their control. So we fully anticipate that WebSphere Automation will be predominantly used in the client data center, but there is no requirement that that's the case. You can choose to run this wherever you'd like. Just to be very clear, at this time, this is not a hosted service. The data that we're collecting as part of WebSphere Automation stays within the tool. It does not get published to IBM or anything like that. It's totally within the domain of your data center or your data control. So based on this OpenShift environment, I have my WebSphere Automation environment installed. In here, you can see the view. I can operate my application runtimes, and this gives me the view that we're looking at here, which is my consolidated list of all of the WebSphere servers that I've chosen to register with this tool. Now, this tool does not depend on the ND cell structure, so you can configure this to have entries from multiple different cells, multiple different runtimes, and I'll show you that in a second. And what this really allows you to do is bring together your entire WebSphere security environment into a single dashboard so that you can see your full security posture. And what we can see here is a set of servers that we've registered. Now, this is the test environment. We're actually looking at a system test deployment that we use actively for testing. So you can see that there's a bunch of different types of information that's in here. But what this is going to show you is a combination of the servers and their security risk level. That risk level is based on the CVSS score of the highest It's actually the highest score of the CVEs that are affecting the servers in the environment. So you can see I have some servers that are flagged as critical, some that are flagged as high, and some that are flagged as none, because those are the latest or nearly latest versions of Liberty, and all of those vulnerabilities, if there were any, have been patched. So you can see in this view, we get the server identifying information, the list of unresolved CVEs, so that we can see very simply what needs to be acted upon. There's a set of information here for the WebSphere version and the JDK version, because we know vulnerabilities can exist in both the IBM WebSphere runtime as well as the JDK runtime, and then a list of applied iFixes, because you may choose to apply an iFix to remediate a vulnerability. From this view, you can also drill into information about a server. So I can click on an individual server. I can see more information about the server. I can see the complete list of fixes and unresolved CVEs. This is one of those views that we expect to evolve and become more information rich over time. But this is the kind of information that you'll see here. And then to see information about an individual CVE, you can click on that and will actually open up a tab in your browser, and it will take you to the security bulletin that documents all of the sort of security-specific details about that particular vulnerability. Then the last thing I want to highlight is we do allow for configuration of email notifications. You can configure this tool to point to an email server of your choice. We kind of expect that to be sort of probably your corporate email server. And you can then manage the list of emails, email names, whether that's individual person names or some sort of functional list, it doesn't really matter, so that you can get notifications when either new servers are added that have vulnerabilities, or when a new vulnerability is published by IBM. You'll get a notification contextualized to your environment that says, hey, there's a new vulnerability that's affecting your WebSphere environment. Click here to see that vulnerability, and that will take you to this view, and it will have the ability to sort of filter on that list of CVEs so that you can see exactly what's been impacted. So that's just the sneak peek demo that we wanted to do today. This, like I said, is an in-development driver, so we're putting the final touches on this. We're fixing any of the remaining bugs, but this is what the tool will look like in its first release. And we're really excited about that, because we know that through conversations with customers, this has a lot of value. And that value doesn't have to stop at a WebSphere story. We also have within IBM another offering called the IBM Cloud Pack for Watson IOPS. So what we talked about just now was a WebSphere automation solution focused very intentionally on the needs of WebSphere and solving WebSphere problems. If you have a complex IT environment, which you almost certainly do, WebSphere automation works very well with the Cloud Pack for Watson IOPS, because the Cloud Pack for Watson IOPS and WebSphere automation exist upon a common shared infrastructure. What we focus on in WebSphere automation is the needs of the WebSphere operator. What Watson IOPS is focused on is the needs of developers and operators across the entire IT stack. So I would highly encourage you to take a look at Watson IOPS if you are practicing DevOps, if you are managing large, complex environments, any of those sort of needs where a tool that's going to help you better understand and operate your entire IT stack would be very, very beneficial. But the takeaway here is that both WebSphere automation and Cloud Pack for Watson IOPS are built upon a common infrastructure, something we call the IBM Automation Foundation, that enables you to have a simple shared environment that you can use for all of these automation type capabilities from IBM. So looking to wrap up, I've mentioned we've been working with customers on this. We've had some sort of early customer sort of feedback on this, saying things like, what we're describing here is a silver bullet. There's a lot of value in here. And I would invite you to come and listen to some clients speak with us at Think this year in May, where we'll be talking about the sort of latest and greatest state of WebSphere automation, and you can come and connect with us to learn more. And I just want to say thank you very much for your time today. I'm very excited about this, and I think this is going to be a great ongoing conversation between us and our clients.
All right, fantastic.
And with that, I'll say thanks.